Scaramucci, Judge Jeanine Pirro, they'll weigh in, and also tonight.
Democrats, Republicans, independents said, we want a change in this country, and Donald Trump represented that change, and he did so in a way that just shocked the world. And the other thing about President-elect Trump, and everyone understands it who knows him, he listens to a lot of people. If anyone thinks that I'm the only one that's going to walk in to that office and say, this is what you have to do, I think in a lot of cases he takes the advice, but he likes to listen to a lot of people, and that's a good thing. That's what you want from a president.
That was Reince Priebus earlier today on Fox and Friends. It was just announced this weekend that he will be President-elect Donald Trump's chief of staff, but that was not the only big appointment this weekend. Steve Bannon will serve as Mr. Trump's chief strategist and senior counselor. Now, Mr. Trump has many more positions to fill before taking office in January, and some big announcements, well, they could be coming this week. Joining us now to go over what we can expect in the coming days, the author of Hopping Over the Rabbit Hole. By the way, a best-selling book in one day. He's a Trump transition team executive committee member. Our friend Anthony Scaramucci, the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro. All right, both of you, by the way, I know for a fact, are being considered for positions. But that's not what I'm going to ask you about tonight. I'll leave that up to you guys. I have known Reince and Steve Bannon both for a long time. The media, I just did a long monologue, how the media is corrupt and how wrong they got this. And what did they do today? They start feeding more false information. Who was Steve Bannon's best friend? Andrew Breitbart. He ran Breitbart. He was working with Andrew to launch Breitbart. Also Larry O'Connor, who I know was raised Jewish. Andrew was. So I guess an ex-wife, whatever, makes this claim. And look at what the alt-left radical media is doing yet again. They learn nothing from their mistakes in this campaign, and they're attacking Steve Bannon as something that I know that he's not. David Horowitz knows that he's not, and anybody that has...
Oh, I know he's not. I work with him very closely on the campaign. He's a brilliant strategist.
Right.
He's a very fair guy, and I'll tell you what, he had a great influence on this campaign throughout, which is why President-elect Trump is bringing him to the White House.
And by the way, his background, I was a senior partner, I guess, or executive at Goldman Sachs. I mean, he has a background. Everyone just thinks Breitbart.
Well, not only that, he's a military officer.
That too.
He's a Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
He's a man who has...
By the way, look at Anthony. Anthony's a Harvard grad.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. Anyway, but this guy, Bannon, has done wonderful things for Donald Trump. He brought everyone together in that Trump campaign, and he delivered a victory along with a lot of other people for Donald Trump. He will do the same for the American people. He will be able to deliver the big ideas that Donald Trump talked about.
That's the challenge.
That got Donald Trump elected. And you know what? All of this left-wing coordinated effort on their part
Smear,
to destroy
slander.
him,
by the way,
is pathetic.
Just like they tried to do to Donald himself.
Exactly.
Yeah, no question. But I just want to say two things about Reince Priebus. Okay, this guy stood in the foxhole.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
He had a he should be Secretary of State, wink, wink, because he had 17 nation states they had to deal with before Mr. Trump became the nominee.
Let me say this, because
he's a brilliant guy.
They
and
treated
he's very
him
well loved.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, all these people that didn't keep their campaign pledge that were running for president, all of these people, you know, he kept his word. And he fought. He was in the trenches for Donald Trump.
That ground game, Sean. Okay, at the end of the day,
he built it.
Mr. Trump said in a lot of these events, we'll know if you're secretariat if we win, and we can take the rose bouquet and put it around you. And on Wednesday morning, boy, were we able to do that. And so I am thrilled for Reince and thrilled for Steve. But again, like Governor Pence, Sean, he's picking great people. I mean, think about the 3 picks that Mr. Trump,
think about this.
President-elect Trump has picked. It's extraordinary.
Since Obama became president, this is worth noting. You know, we've picked up 13 Senate seats the Republicans have, 64 House seats, 14 governorships, 30 state houses. You know, seriously? The greatest gift to the Republican Party, and this probably that paved the way, was his failure and the forgotten men and women of this country that have suffered.
And isn't it interesting that Bannon's whole theme was about the forgotten man? And in 2010, 2014, 2016, everybody lost. It was a Democrat with Obama.
I bought a a painting called The Forgotten Man.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know.
It's on my website, Hannity.com.
Now, Amity Schlaze wrote a great book called The Forgotten
Yeah.
Man about the Depression. And so what's interesting about the alt-left, just to add this to it, they're not focused on these people. They think these people are misogynists and misanthropes and they're negative people. All they are is faith-based people that want an aspirational opportunity for their family members. And they came out in real strong
Steve's really
numbers.
bright. Steve never wavered. I would talk to Steve. I talked to Kellyanne. I talked to Rice. I talked to everybody, as I know both of you did. They never wavered. They always believed they would win.
And you know
No
what?
doubt.
But I said in my open last night, and you know what? It's about time we're now going to be able to actually cling to God, our guns, and
our
religion.
Bibles?
Too
Oh, my-
bad.
Wow. Very
You know?
good. Good to see you both. And
I want you on my team with your gun, though, Jeanine. That's for sure.
Uh-oh, here we go. All right, coming up next tonight on this busy news night on Hannity. President-elect Donald Trump speaking to 60 Minutes about his plans to deport illegal immigrants, criminal aliens, those that committed crimes in U.S. cities and small towns. Mercedes Schlapp, Charlie Hurt, they're up next. And later, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Rick Grinnell weigh in on Trump's strategy. How does he defeat ISIS and protect the homeland? Straight ahead. While Chicago Mayor Ram Rambo Deadfish Emanuel, well, he's vowing that his city will always be a sanctuary city. So how fast can Donald Trump implement his immigration agenda? And what will it mean for sanctuary cities across America, cities that defy the rule of law? Here with analysis, Fox News contributors Mercedes Schlapp and Charlie Hurt. Mercedes, what they're saying is they don't care what the law is. They are going to violate the law. Now, why do I believe if Hillary was president and I came on TV and I said, I'm going to violate the law, that I would have people with guns, probably people I like because I love law enforcement, come by and they'd handcuff me and maybe even perp walk me in front of the cameras and mugshot me and take mugshots of me and I would be made an example of. And it would take you and Charlie baking a cake with a file in it to maybe get me out before 10 years, my sentence. Why do they think they can violate the law?
Let me tell you, Sean, if you would ever end up in jail, Charlie and I would be the first ones out there protesting to get you out, okay?
Yeah, that's going to work. My two favorite people.
So here's the deal. With sanctuary cities, it's just toxic to our immigration system. A reason being is that we know that after 9/11, they pushed forward the secure communities, which is where FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the local law enforcement would work together to basically make sure that they can identify criminal illegal aliens. Remember that many of these hijackers of 9/11 were actually illegal aliens. So this is an opportunity to keep Americans safe. And the idea that these mayors and these local leaders in some of these key liberal cities have decided that they're going to still keep moving forward on the sanctuary cities, you know, it's going to be troublesome because with Donald Trump as president, he's going to ensure that we end that practice. And guess what? Those cities will not be receiving federal law enforcement grants if they don't participate and really cooperate
That's a great
with the
idea.
federal government.
It's called a financial incentive. You know, most people agree, Charlie, that just rescinding a lot of executive orders that basically means Obama didn't want to abide by the law that were passed by previous presidents, that would bring us almost all the way there. There's not a whole lot that he really needs to go to Congress about as it relates to this specific issue, right? Criminal aliens?
All of those workarounds that President Obama did because he knew that Congress, even though he had 2 years of a full Democratic Congress, he couldn't get these crazy ideas through. So you're right; those things get wiped away with the stroke of a pen. But on the sanctuary cities in particular, I mean, bring that fight on. I mean, that is for Donald Trump and for Republicans, if they hold fast, that is a fantastic argument for them because that is a no-brainer anywhere in the country. And I would actually argue that it actually, you know, the people that are proponents of these sanctuary cities are not only are they undermining the American will and the rule of law, but they're also setting off a terrible message for people around the world. It's anti-immigrant is what it is, because what it does is it draws people from all over South America here thinking that we don't enforce our laws. And then what happens when, you know, suddenly we do start enforcing our laws?
What about the
It puts them in a
amnesty crowd
terrible
in
position.
D.C.? Paul Ryan quoted as saying there's no deportation force, but Donald Trump is saying we have 2 to 3 million criminal aliens
Right.
in the country. I would think every American agrees that if not only you didn't respect our laws and sovereignty, but then you committed crimes, in some cases even violent crimes, you ought to go. Those are not people that want a better life.
Right. And it's a no-brainer, Sean. I mean, the mere fact is that we know that ICE last year in 2015 released 20,000 criminal aliens into our society. The fact that over close to 9,000 of those actually were convicted of violent crimes. These are individuals who do not deserve to be in our land, in our nation. They need to be deported. No question. And not even their home countries want them back. So it becomes quite a challenge. And then, so I think for Donald Trump to take on this fight, I think it's incredibly important for the sake of enforcing our immigration laws and ensuring that at the end of the day, the American citizen is protected.
And Charlie, and he said it last night, he said, as it relates to the other people, we'll have a discussion after the wall is built and the borders are secure. I think it's the right priority.
Donald Trump understands this issue better than any Republican politician that we've had in the past 10 or 15 years.
So what if they oppose him? What if they give him a hard time?
Well, here's what I think happens. First of all, he understands you take the toughest position that you can take, which is build the wall, deport them all, and then once you secure the border and you end the flow, then you can kind of sort of negotiate about other things, but we must deport those people who are breaking the law over and beyond just being here illegally. Those people have to go, and then slowly that group of people gets smaller and smaller, and are Americans, are Trump supporters going to be outraged if some of these people that don't get deported, who have been contributing citizens other than having broken the law to be here? I think that people give them a lot of leeway if you fix these other parts of the problem, and Republicans have never stuck with that.
All right, I got to run, guys. Thank you both. And interesting times ahead. I will tell you, there's going to be a lot of fights. And in short order, as we can see, the left will be doing everything they can do to undermine him. And it's going to be a battle like we've probably never seen before. Good to see you both. Thank you. And when we come back, President-elect Donald Trump, he won't discuss his plans to destroy ISIS. He thinks that's stupid. He doesn't want to give anything away to America's enemies. Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Rick Grinnell, they're here to weigh in tonight. Straight ahead. And welcome back to Hannity. So last night, during his sit-down interview with 60 Minutes, President-elect Donald Trump was asked about his plans to defeat ISIS. Does Donald Trump have a point? Also, earlier today, Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa wrote a letter to President Obama declaring, quote, ISIS and its sympathizers are growing more